Why? Hi, I'm Dirtbag and welcome to Metal Breakdown, the show that breaks bad metal albums. Don't you just hate it when things change? Now there's nothing wrong with experimenting or changing with the times. Hell, David Bowie's been doing that for his whole career. But when you found your own little niche and choose to do something different, it can have mixed results. But then again, it's not unwelcome in the metal community. It's just that metalheads know what they want. Something brutal. Ladies and gentlemen, Morbid Angel. One of the pioneering bands of death metal, their sick licks and devilish riffs tore through the Tampa Bay area in the mid-80s. Albums like Altars of Madness, Blessed Are the Sick, and the best-selling death metal record of all time, Covenant, would go down in rock history as milestones for the genre. Then Domination happened. Well, not so much that album, just a bit of a schism within the band itself. To cut a long story short, and I apologise in advance for giving such an abridged backstory, frontman David Vincent left the band after the release of Domination and was replaced with new frontman Steve Tucker. During this era, Morbid Angel released 3 more albums: Formulas Fatal to the Flesh, Gateways to Annihilation, and Heretic. A year after the release of Heretic, David Vincent returned and they simply toured. But they went back into the studio, and after waiting 8 years, fans finally got a new album titled Illud Divinum Insanus. I have no idea how to speak Latin, I'm sorry. This record was produced by the bands themselves, and even had first-timer Destruct 4 on guitars write material. It also features Tim Young, who has been in numerous death metal bands, filling in on drums. Longtime drummer Pete Sandoval was suffering from back problems, and has recently found Jesus. That's one more fallen brother along with Alice Cooper and Dave Mustaine. It's also pretty clear that the band wanted to try something different with a few songs. But there's still death metal here and there, but the best examples would be Blades for Baal and Nevermore. The rest of the album just has a banal feeling to it, but your mileage may vary. But there are a few tracks that I want to talk about. So let's get this over with. At least I find something better to do with my time. Like watching paint dry. On Warhammer models. Oh come on, this is the first song to show off the new drummer and this is what you have him play? There's no dynamic to that beat at all. It's like the Duracell bunny, it just keeps going and going. Jeez, that beat. It's like something you hear at a rave. If they ever play this song live, I hope they provide glow sticks. Last time I checked, EBM wasn't that extreme. If you want extreme, I'll show you extreme. In fact, Devin will show you crazy. If you want crazy, if you want fucking crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry, that one was for me. Destructos versus the Earth. It sounds like a schlocky sci-fi movie. Schlocky sci-fi movie. Sorry, couldn't resist. I just hope you get the reference about the Saki robots. And if you don't, hand in your geek card.
Laser vision has monitored for centuries. We've gathered evidence. We know that you are diseased.
So, you've gathered enough information that warrants the destruction of humankind, but you forget basic grammar. Come on, mate, you could have easily slipped in you are a disease, or you are diseased. Canal. What, if the whole human race is doomed, it's not going to hurt being a grammar Nazi now, is it?
It matters not what countermeasures you employ. You're not the first ones that we've destroyed. We take charge of the task at hand. Rid the third planet of life. Destroy man, we're marching. Destructos marching on, man. We're marching. Destructos marching on.
They were watching the Keanu Reeves version of The Day the Earth Stood Still, weren't they? And like that movie, this song isn't just boring, it's devoid of any fun. It's just cold, like the void of space. In fact, fuck it, I'm gonna build a spaceship, get all my friends, load it full of beer and Metallica CDs, blast off into the stars, and spread the gospel of metal. Fuck the Prime Directive, I want to see Space Lizards in Motorhead t-shirts. I want green-skinned groupies providing the best cocaine this side of the Milky Way. Forget about understanding, forget about what's best for mankind, pure fucking decadence all the way. What the fuck was I talking about again? Man, I'm glad that's over. I thought that song was never gonna
Its impact is so terrifying that it may have an unforeseen effect.
They left a snippet of actual brutal death metal right at the end. Dicks! Oh boy, this is it. The one song fans harp on the most. Radical. Because poor literacy is for death metal bands in their 40s. Well, the message seems pretty clear to me, and I think it's something we can all get behind. I honestly don't see what the problem is. Come on, I'm from Liverpool, I'm a born criminal. Do you think the Beatles bought their own instruments? No, they stole them off the back of a van.
Lines along the drawn between the life and death, the right and wrong. What's the reason? What's the reason? The walls are high, we know they gotta come down.
Yeah, that's pretty hokey. In fact, a few other songs had a hokey flair to them. I Am Morbid and Beauty Meets Beast, to be specific. It's like Marky Mark in The Happening.
Living hardcore radical.
Living hardcore radical. David Vincent, may I ask you a question? What you setting, you jive turkey? Trey, abandon ship, you can't save this one. Jesus, these last few songs have been like hand-me-downs from Ministry. Except Ministry would know what to do with these themes and concepts. Make a decent song. last track on the album, Mea Culpa, happens to be the Latin equivalent for My Bad. Yeah, very funny, guys.
Illud Divinum Insanus.
It's like a bad strapping young lad impression, crossed with an M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong twist. It's like a car crash. When you look at it, you just can't stop staring. If Mike Patton heard this, he'd be all like, well, that's a failed experiment. And the really sad part is, Trey has gone on record to say that he didn't like the industrial influence on domination. And while that was back in the mid-90s, we got an album with a huge boner for us years later. It also seems to me that Dave had a lot of input on this record. He has worked with industrial side projects during his departure from Morbid Angel. Perhaps he's had too much input. Even former drummer Pete Sandoval has said, and I paraphrase, the bands could have just done a separate project instead of having this under the Morbid Angel name. And yes, I have picked on just a few songs here. Another criticism of mine would be the production. As I've said before, it's just too clean for death metal. To me, death metal is at its best when it sounds raw. With a clean sounding record, it loses its edge. But that's just me. Next time, we're having a palate cleanser. Until then, I'm Dirtbag, and you've been watching Metal Breakdown. Keep it metal.